Hi there, my name is Alan Lamont. I am covering on this video what is happening with Pope Francis, that man of sin, that son of perdition that sits in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Of course, it's not the temple of God, really. No, temple of Lucifer. So, let's look at what's happening with that man of sin. Okay, well, Pope Francis condemns global indifference to suffering. Oh my God. Pope Francis condemns global indifference to suffering. Pope uses visit to the island of Lampedusa to highlight plight of migrants and asylum seekers who die trying to reach Europe. And of course the Pope goes there to shake a few hands, and he's surrounded by many bodyguards and intelligence men there. But really just walks up by, no help whatsoever given. And okay, quote, in perhaps the sternest homily of his papacy so far, Pope Francis has inveighed against the globalization of indifference in the sense that, without natural affection, without compassion. Continue. Speaking on Monday on the small island of Lampedusa, the point of entry into Europe for tens of thousands of migrants and asylum seekers, Francis said, "We have become used to the suffering of others. It doesn't affect us. It doesn't interest us. It's not our business." I think that was a confession, actually. Who's he talking about there? We have become used to the suffering of others. He's speaking about himself, of course. The Jesuits don't care. The Vatican does not care about the suffering of others. We have become used to the suffering of others. Of course they have. It doesn't affect us. No, it doesn't affect them whatsoever. It doesn't interest us. It's not our business. That's the truth of it. It doesn't affect them whatsoever. Moving on, you have Pope Francis inspires Colombian priest to sell Mercedes. Just more spin and propaganda. If the Vatican really wanted to, help people in poverty, they would sell everything in the Vatican. In fact, they would sell the Vatican and provide for the poor, but they don't, of course. Of course, Jesus says, sell all that you have and take up your cross and follow me. That's the way of the Lord, isn't it? But here we have Bogota, Colombia. This is obviously July the 11th, 2013, 12:11 p.m. CNA EWTN News, inspired by the words and example of Pope Francis, a priest in Santa Marta, Colombia, said that he has decided to sell the luxury Mercedes-Benz his family gave to him. On July the 9th, Father Hernando, I'm not going to say the rest of that name, chaplain of St. Michael's Cemetery, told reporters that the money he gets from selling the car, valued at 62 grand, will be given to his family members. And it's all you get. You get absolute propaganda on these Catholic websites, trying to make out that, Pope Francis is such a holy man, he's such a good man, he's such a good example to everyone. And the stories then get ridiculous. I mean, you also have a lot of revelation coming out about Pope Francis updates legislation criminalizing intelligence leaks and sexual crimes. Very interesting. Johannesburg, July the 12th. Pope Francis, quote, reportedly updated the laws of Vatican City and criminalized leaks of Vatican information and sexual crimes, including possession of child pornography. According to News 24, Pope Francis specifically listed sexual violence, prostitution, and possession of child pornography as crimes against children that can be punished for up to 12 years in prison. The Vatican signed and ratified the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child in 1990, but only 23 years later, it has updated its legislation to reflect some of the treaty's core provisions. And now, if the Vatican does this, then it's commendable and it's brilliant. But there's still paedophiles in the Vatican. The cardinals, they're still corrupt. I mean, it's unnatural to suppress the sex drive. It's unnatural to be celibate. It's really the Babylonian priesthood. That's what the cardinals are. That's what the bishops are. And obviously, they are the worst paedophiles on the planet. I'm not even going to actually continue on this story. I want to move on very quick from that. You also have Pope Francis invites 200 homeless people to dine at the Vatican. Cardinal, obviously that's revealed, by the Vatican. And of course, this is the Cardinals of Rome just really bringing propaganda again and again and again. Pope Francis invites 200 homeless people. It's complete hypocrisy. It really is, you know. I've said before, the Vatican Bank rules all banks. People have to understand that it is the most wealthiest organization on the face of the earth. Obviously, Romano reports that Cardinal Bertello, president of the Governorate of the Vatican City, State, spent the evening with the guests. I welcome you in the name of the Pope. As you know, this is your home. This is your home. I don't think they lived in the Vatican. I think they were, you know, sent back onto the streets again. This is your home, and he is pleased that you are here, he told the group before dinner was served. Honestly, you know. The Vatican's working overtime, you know, to try and bring, really, you know, Pope worship. That's what it is. The Bible says the world will worship the beast, and this is what's happening in the media today. And so you get all of these stories, you know, but they get more ridiculous. I mean, really. Here's Sir Elton John. He says Pope Francis is a miracle of humility. Really. Well, that's rich from this rich sodomite, of course, you know. Obviously, he's under the power of the Jesuits, under the power of the Vatican, as they all are in the media. Sir Elton John, you know, sodomite, says that Pope Francis is a miracle of humility, you know. How ridiculous is this, really, truly, honestly? Are people so dumbed down, literally, that they don't understand that the Vatican creates the wars, they create the inquisitions, even today? I mean, just look at Pope Benedict, the previous Pope. He was the Grand Inquisitor, wasn't he? He was the head of the Holy Office of the Inquisition, you know. What does that really mean? It means that the Vatican continues to bring war across the earth. In Africa, all over the earth, in Syria, in Egypt, all of these revolutions that we see. It's the Jesuit order who create revolutions, incite deeds of violence. It's the Jesuit order who create all of the terrorist networks, who create Al-Qaeda, who create all of these groups, you know. It's the Vatican that brings all the war and brings all the suffering. And here we have these, you know, fools, you know. Sir Elton John says Pope Francis is a miracle of humility. He's a Jesuit. He's a Jesuit. He's taken the high Jesuit oath to strangle and burn and kill if necessary, if he's commanded to. So how can he be a miracle of humility? God help people. Here you also have Pope Francis, you know, the statue of Pope Francis, which is quite funny actually. Pope Francis says statue must go. Pope Francis statue must go, says Pontiff, who demands removal of Buenos Aires Cathedral monument. Why? Because it's an idol? Or maybe because he looks fat. He's got, I don't know. Who knows? He doesn't like it anyway. But actually, you know, the Vatican's filled with idols. All you have to do is look at the you know, graven images in the Vatican. You know, so that's hypocrisy again. I don't want an idol of myself. I don't want to be worshipped. I'm a man of humility. It's all lies and deception. All lies. Go to St. Peter's and see the temple of Satan. That's what it is. Filled with idols. Filled with graven images. Filled with demon power. The statue of Peter itself is Jupiter, taken from the pantheon of the gods in Rome, with his sun wheel around his head. So this is all hypocrisy, isn't it, really? Yes. Okay. The Vatican is mystery of Babylon the Great. All you have to do is look, and it's there in plain sight, isn't it? It's there. Look at the priests of Rome. Look at the cardinals dressed in their purple and scarlet. It's the only organisation. And Catholics still continue to come on the internet, on YouTube, and even debate this issue. You know, Catholics get very angry. How dare you call my church a great whore? Well, she is a whore. You have no evidence for that? Yes, I have. In fact, it's there for all to see, that have eyes to see. She's dressed in purple and scarlet. You show me one organisation where they dress in purple and scarlet. There's only one on the face of the earth, and that's the College of the Cardinals, which is really the Roman Senate. That's what the conclave is, you know. That's what the cardinals are. The old Senate of Rome. And the Pope is Caesar, Emperor. Hail Caesar! But they don't see that. I'm not bringing this out to just, you know, mock Catholics. I want to wake Catholics up to the truth, that everything that you hear out of the mouth of Pope Francis is lies. He lies through his teeth continually. As soon as he came on the scene, he's washing the feet of the poor, and he's, ministering to the homeless and performing exorcisms. It never ends. It never ends. And of course, the Catholic-controlled media across the earth, and that goes for Reuters and BBC, CNN, Fox News, all of them, every single one of them. Even Al Jazeera is run by the Knights of Malta. The Catholic-controlled world press is just worshipping this beast, because that's what he is. That's what the Pope is. He dresses in white, but actually, his heart is as black as hell, honestly. You read the Jesuit oath. That's still in effect today. Jesuits try and come on the internet also and debunk that. Can't do it. Can't do it. I've got historical books going back 300 years with that oath in those books. It's an official oath of the Society of Jesus. Another man left a comment as well on the last video. I think it was the last one. He said try and change the name a bit because, people that are newcomers to this, they won't understand the name Society of Jesus. And that's exactly why Ignatius Loyola chose the name Society of Jesus, because it does bring confusion. People think, well, the company of Jesus, the men of God. The murderers. And Pope Francis is one of them. But, okay, the Vatican's working overtime on their YouTube channel, of course. All you have to do is go and look at the Vatican YouTube channel. It's outrageous, The Pope's sitting there preaching, that the governments need to be more, conscious of the suffering of the poor, and also throwing away food is stealing from the poor. The messages get so outrageous, honestly. Come on, Those that are in the know, they know what the Vatican is. It's a bloodthirsty, murderous organisation, plundering the earth of its wealth, bringing wars between nations, slaughtering millions of people, and the Pope comes out there dressed in white. Hail Caesar! Pope Francis, Antichrist, that's what he is, and people just need to wake up. It's as simple as that. These kind of videos need to be brought out, I believe that. Not speaking, of course, just, like I say, in a mocking way. I'm half Italian. My mother's from Rome. She's a Christian now, of course. Praise the Lord. So am I. And but a lot of my family are still Catholics in Rome. So I understand the fact that you're brought up as a Catholic. You are taught to believe that it's the Roman Catholic Church. It's the Mother Church. And salvation cannot be found outside the Church of Rome. Only through her sacramental grace can you be saved, through Mass and through confessing your sins to a priest and rosary, and the list is obviously endless. But according to the New Testament, these works don't save us. So the Vatican itself is not a Christian church. But worse than that, the real papacy is the Jesuit Black Papacy. That's right. The Jesuits control the Vatican. And if a pope does not go along with their agenda, they'll kill them, they'll poison them. Happened to Pope John Paul I, 33 days in office, yeah? Outrageous, They kill their own popes, of course they do. They've done it to Pope Clement, didn't they, in 1774. I mean, the Jesuits, honestly, they are the enemy. Let's just understand that. They are the enemy. And they're laughing all the time, They just laugh all the time. Like their propaganda, with Pope Francis, And they're the ones that have positioned this, judge to be the president of Egypt. You better believe it, of course. It's all staged. They're all Vatican Knights. They're all Jesuit alumni, all high Jesuits from Jesuit universities. All of the presidents, And did you see them all go to see Pope Francis, slavering on his slipper? Honestly, they couldn't wait to slaver all over him, giving them Masonic grips and so on, All the leaders of the United Nations all grinning there, Because they're in the know, they're part of the secret brotherhood. They do it for wealth, of course, they do it for power. All Vatican Knights. This is the New World Order, isn't it? Okay, thanks for the video. I've just been sharing many things there. Not a particular subject, is it? But, okay, the truth of the matter is really this. The Catholic Church is Mystery Babylon the Great. Who else could it be? I mean, come on, just answer me that question if you want to leave a comment and you don't agree with me. Just answer this one question. Who else dresses in purple and scarlet? Come on. Wake up.